Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of Publishers Brunch with Karis. My name is Karis Rogerson. I am your host for this episode and also the entire podcast. I am a writer, reader, and podcaster. I'm based in Brooklyn, and I'm here today to introduce my first official episode of this podcast. And by official, I mean that I actually have a guest to talk to today, which is so thrilling. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am and what this podcast is. So, like I said, I'm a writer. I have a novel coming out next June. It's called Nat and Cammy's Guide to Writing an Undercover GSA, and I am indie publishing it myself. It is a sapphic YA romance about two girls at a homophobic school, missionary kid school in Italy, who come together to create a secret illegal club for queer kids and allies, and then there's just like some revolution or whatever, and also kissing. It's really cute, and I love it a lot. I love to read and I love to talk to romance authors, and that's what this podcast is all about. And I have this podcast and I have another one. You might have heard of it. It's called The Right Way of Life. It is a author interview craft focused podcast, but today we're talking about Publishers Brunch. So this is a sort of a podcast, like I said, like it's I love romance authors, so this is a romance author specific podcast, and I chat with my guests on sort of like a loosely themed brunch outline. If you listened to the trailer last week, you'll know what that means, but if you weren't able to catch it, I'll just tell you that it basically means that I came up with a framework of a brunch menu and came up with questions that like tie into what I think the topics or the theme of the conversation would look like at that time. You'll get a sense for it during the episode. But yeah, that's me, and that is Publishers Brunch. So, welcome to the episode. Before we dive into the interview, though, I'm just going to chat a little bit. I thought I would talk a little bit about how I'm doing. I am not doing well. Fun fact. I have been pretty depressed lately. For those of you who don't know, I live with chronic depression, and I have since I was about 15 maybe, so over half my life. And I have been consistently in therapy, counseling, psychiatric care, on medication. I've done things like I've done ketamine therapy this summer, all of which helps to keep me alive. But sometimes the depression sort of like rears its head and gets really, really fucking bad and makes it really hard to exist in the world as a human being. And so that's how I've been lately. I've been feeling just sort of empty, like this yawning black hole of emptiness inside me. Like I'll wake up and I'll have, I'll make my coffee and I'll sit down and I'll have maybe 3 minutes of like, ooh, let's see what happened while I was asleep. Did any fun emails come in? Did anyone text me? And then I just kind of sit there and I'm like, okay, and now I have to get through the whole day. And it's felt really impossible for a long time. I have been having some panic attacks, a lot of really heightened anxiety. Like it's been a rough time. Not to worry, like my therapist, my psychiatrist, my physical physician, whatever, like they're all in the know, they're all doing their jobs. And we did make some changes that have improved my mood over the past week or so. But one of my core values, I guess, as a person and especially as a aspiring author, aspiring maybe like public person, is honesty and openness, especially about mental health, because I mean, it's 2025, things are a lot better than they were back in 2011 when I first, 2009 when I first started dealing with this, but there's still a lot of stigma and there's a lot of hush-hush around mental health and mental health issues, and it's really important to me to be part of changing that and be a small cog in the movement to destigmatize mental illness. And so I talk about it openly and I try to share where I'm at. Sometimes I do, little cries for help, and that's not very well thought out, and I wish I were better at not doing that. But like sometimes you just sometimes it feels like I'm trapped inside my brain and I'm screaming, but no one can hear me because I'm inside my brain. And the only way I can get their attention is to do something drastic about it. And that's really scary, and those moments can be really decentering and destabilizing. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. I am doing a lot better. I have things that are making me feel better. I have, really strong support system. One thing though that my friends have heard ad nauseum over the past months is that I really want a stronger in-person community. I live in Brooklyn, but I mean, I've been working remotely from my bedroom pretty much since 2020. A lot of my friends moved away from the city, and I don't really have any strong touch points anymore. Like, I'm not in school in the city, I don't go to church in the city, I don't have clubs in the city that I can be a part of. So I'm really trying to beef that up. So now, I go to a bar and a coffee shop occasionally, and I try and like make friends with people. It's really awkward. It's oh God, it's so hard. But I'm doing my best because I am someone I'm deeply extroverted, and I really need that human connection, both virtually and in person. I think I need a lot more than a lot of other writers, because a lot of writers are introverted and really satisfied and fulfilled by alone time, and I just happen to be a little gremlin who's like, no, give me the people time. So that's where I'm at. The next section we're going to talk about is what's going on in the world. I mentioned this in the trailer that came out last week, but I will be doing a bit of I want this podcast to be a space to discuss what's happening in the world. Like, I know they're like, oh my God, never talk about religion or politics. Bitch, I talk about both of them all the damn time. Okay? Like, if you don't like that, maybe this isn't the podcast for you. I'm just saying. Because I start every episode with doing a check-in and asking my guests how they are, and telling them, it's okay to share how you're actually doing. It's okay to share whether, the state of the world is really messing you up, like it's all good. And so one thing that's been on my mind this week is I noticed there were and I'll try to put a link to an article about this in the show notes, but basically a news broke that there are new visa guidelines for tourists coming to the US, and they're pretty intense. I mean, like, we've known since the start of this administration back in January. I mean, we've known since they won the election. We've known since before. We've known what was coming. We've known that they're trying to really crack down and change a part of America that is like the one special thing about it, which is that it's multicultural, and that a variety of people of different backgrounds and beliefs and ethnicities and races and sexualities and gender identities live in the US. And this fascist government really wants to make us more homogenous in a very horrifying direction, right? And so all that to say, the new visa guidelines are like, we're going to check your social media for 5 years and make sure you never said anything about, dear leader Trump or whatever. This is a problem, not just for, I'm thinking of people who live in the US who aren't citizens, but who've made their lives here, right? What happens when they need to renew their visas? But I'm also thinking about so many of the industries and cities and just places in this country that rely on tourism. Like, what are we going to do when that just goes away? Because we're all broke. We're all broke. Eggs cost $5 billion, and we can't buy any food without going broke again. I live paycheck to paycheck, and by that I mean I live paycheck to, oh no, I've got $2 for the next week before my next paycheck. Like, it's bad. The economy fucking sucks right now. Ooh, ranting. Okay. So, losing out on tourism, pretty bad. But that news sent me on a thought spiral. Not spiral, but like, it sent me to a connection where I'm thinking again about ICE, which I don't want to think about ICE. I don't want ICE to exist. I really think it needs to be demolished as ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, something like that. The really, really bad guys. ICE has been rounding up people, citizens, legal residents, people going to their citizenship ceremonies. Like, they've just been rounding people up and deporting them or keeping them detained. And this week, again, we got the news that a judge has declared that Kilmar Abrigo Armando Garcia, who was in the news earlier this year as wrongfully deported to an El Salvador prison, and now he's back in the States and he's been in detainment, but a judge has ordered his release. And so I'm thinking about community care in the face of ICE. And so I did a little bit of research and I found a couple links that talk about how to protect yourself and others from ICE. I will leave those in the show notes, but really the main takeaway that I gleaned from those is just like paying attention, being aware, right? So for me, what that looks like is when I'm on the subway and I've got my podcast in and I'm like zoned out or whatever because it's the subway and everyone hates being there because we all just want to be where we're going already. But, pay attention. Like, do I see authority agents in the area? Watch who they're talking to, watch what they're going, like, be willing to step in, whether that's to say, like, hey, what's going on, or to start filming, or to, like, physically, if I can, put my body between them and the people they are trying to hurt. And I can do this. I am white woman. I am a citizen of the US. I'm also a citizen of Canada. And I think that helps me a lot in many ways because, I don't know, it makes me feel safer. So like, I do feel like I am in a position where if push comes to shove, I can put my body on the line. Not in a, not in like an I'm strong and physically fit kind of way, but in a like I have a lot of social privilege kind of way. And so I'm safer than a lot of people. So that's what I'm thinking about. And I'm thinking about knowing your rights, knowing that if someone knocks on your door and they don't have a warrant, you don't have to open the door for them. You definitely don't have to let them in. Knowing that you don't, unless you're being arrested, like silence is your right and it is your strongest weapon when you are dealing with the authorities. So that's the call to action this week. It's like a knowledge-based one. It's like, let's all do some reading, do some research. If you've already done this, if you've even, gone to classes by the ACLU or their localized, branches, like they do a lot of know your rights symposiums and stuff like that. That's amazing. So then my urge would be to share that information with someone who maybe doesn't have all of that already. And this is already like 12 minutes of me talking, so I'm gonna keep it moving. And I'm gonna talk about there's no good way to segue into this. I'm gonna talk about some romance novels I've been reading lately. The first series that I'm going to talk about is a really cool project that Ali Hazelwood and Adriana Herrera put together earlier this year as the sort of publisher name AH² romance collections. It's called After the End. It was a Kickstarter project. They brought together 8 authors, including themselves, obviously, and they each wrote these really rad romance novellas that all take place after the end, after the apocalypse, to show that we'll still have happily ever afters after the end. It's kind of a really amazing concept. It's dystopian, smutty romance, and I adore it. I read the first 6 books in the collection. I just finished Elizabeth Stevens' entry, which is called Taken, which is like a alien/monster romance, and I don't understand how, because I'm like looking at things on the surface. I'm like, no, I don't like aliens or like monsters. I like humans to humanoid, like werewolves are a stretch. And then Elizabeth Stevens like pops in and she's like, and this creature with scales, and I'm like, hot. Smash, let's go. So I loved it, and I'm loving the whole series. I don't know if there's a way to get them if you didn't back the Kickstarter, but I will leave a bunch of information about it in the links as well. And I do think Ali and Adriana have more up their sleeves, which is so exciting. And then the other romance that I need to talk about, you're going to be so surprised to hear me say this title. Like, you're not going to see it coming. I don't think anyone in my life knows that I've been, reading this book or like watching this TV show. It's called Hated Rivalry. So this, I'm going to be talking about it until the end of time, probably, because this is one of those stories that has just completely overtaken my life. In so many ways. I literally sat down yesterday and wrote like a think piece. Yesterday, it's Saturday the 13th, so yesterday was a episode 4 drop. And so I sat down and I wrote a think piece about it, and I made myself cry because it's not just the romance and the angst and the yearning that did make me cry for sure. But also there is much to be said about being in the closet and internalized shame in who you are and your sexuality, and I really relate to that. Obviously, I mean, I grew up evangelical and in a culture and community that was very anti-queer, and I am bisexual, like I'm queer, and I didn't know that for a long time, and it took me a while to come to terms with it. And so this book, show, universe, like the whole thing is really emotional for me, and I think it's really beautiful. But because I am talking about a hockey romance that is that is written by a woman, I would also like to recommend some books that are written by queer men. I will recommend Adib Karam's books. I've read I'll Have What He's Having, and it was a breath of delight and like just so beautiful and so real, and it was just gorgeous. And he has his new book, It Had to Be Him, is out now, and it's set in Italy, so like obviously I'm gonna love the shit out of that. So that's one. That's an adult romance, and it's steamy. Adib is also the author of Darius the Great Is Not Okay, which is a book whose depression rep just changed my life back in 2018, 2019. So he's also written some really incredible YA romances. I'm a huge fan of his. So there's a lot of other romance authors. There's Kozoko Jackson, there's M.A. Wardell, there's Timothy Janofsky, and oh god, there's just so many names, but I haven't read all of them. So the only one that I'm going to recommend like that is Adib's work, because I've read it. But just know that there are so many queer men writing romance, and I don't want to step my toe into this discussion, but there is a discussion about, whose stories get amplified and picked up, and all I'll say is that I think we need all of them. We need the heated rivalries to be adapted, because it's a really damn good adaptation, and it's a really incredible story, but we also need queer men of color. We need their stories to be celebrated and screamed about with the same volume and passion and like feralness that these other stories get. And I mean, I don't think we see publishing be truly equitable until we get to a point where a gay man of color's adaptation does just as well as that of a woman. So that's all I'll say about that. And speaking of women, that's my segue. Today's guest is Mazey Eddings. I'm going to read her bio, and then we'll just transition into the interview. So Mazey Eddings is a best-selling author, dentist, and, most importantly, stage mom to her cats, Yaya and Zadie. She can most often be found reading romance novels under her weighted blanket and asking her husband to bring her snacks. She's made it her personal mission in life to destigmatize mental health issues and write love stories for every brain. With roots in Ohio and Philadelphia, she now calls North Carolina home. Welcome, Mazey Eddings. All right. Hello, everyone. Not a live stream. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi, this is Karis Rogerson. I am the host of Publishers Brunch with Karis, and I'm here today for my very first episode with Mazey Eddings. Hello, Mazey.
Hi!
I'm so excited to have you. Could you really quickly just introduce yourself and your books in your own words? Just however long you want to take for that.
Oh God, do not give me free reign because we will just be here for quite some time. But I am so excited. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me be the first guest. I love brunch. Brunch is a state of mind, so this is like a very, very big deal to me. But yeah, I'm Mazey Eddings. I am the author of adult and one YA romances that tend to feature neurodivergent characters. And oh God, it's been a hot minute since I've done a podcast, so I'm like, I don't even know how to introduce myself. Yeah, my characters are all dickheads. I really adore them, and my mission is to write love stories for every brain. And yeah, I've been yeah, you know what, we'll leave it there.
Love stories for every brain. I love that. I have a neurodivergent brain, and it is trying to destroy me, and I'm like, you know what? I love to see that represented in the books. So
I love, you know what, and like under the neurodiversity spectrum, we also got some mentally ill ones, and you know, we just love the mentally ill girlies and getting railed and falling in love. Like that's the representation we need.
It really is. And your most recent book has come out before we recorded this was Well Actually, which I read and was like, you know what, this is the best book that I have read this year. Like, this is so good, and I'm obsessed. Eva. Okay. Obsessed with Eva. I think Riley Cooper is like the one man who can have rights. Like,
oh my God, same. I feel the same way. I'm like, yeah, I am bisexual in the sense that I love all women and one man, and that man's Riley Cooper.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's Mazey. And my next question, I should have said this at the start. This is the appetizer portion of our brunch. Oh. Yeah. It's like small bites. We're just getting started. We're warming up. So
little nibs.
Yeah. So like, really low stakes question. How are you doing?
Oh my God. I guess I'll be on, like, not well. Not to wait, which Real Housewife was it? Is it Dorinda where she's like, not well, bitch? Yeah.
That's literally all of us.
Yeah, like I don't know. Times are tough. You know, things are dark out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's and you know, on a personal level, I think I'm just having like a lot of existential crises. This was supposed to be the easy questions.
I know this is a really like hardball in there, fastball, whatever.
I think like one of my toxic traits is I also always assume that like when somebody says how are you, I'm like assuming that they want the truth, and that's not usually the case. But yeah, you know, doing what we can to make it through. As one does, and yeah, just kind of like I said, I've been having a lot of existential crises of late, where I'm like, oh my God, like this is real life and not a simulation. So I am on Prozac. Like, you know, like I'm working through it. But how are you?
Oh my God. No, I am. So for listeners, you'll be listening to this later, but it is currently November 9th, which means it is the week that we like, for the first time in a year, there was like a mild burst of hope, at least in New York City.
Yes. Yeah.
Because an election went in a decent direction for once. So I'm like, okay, it's just like things are so awful. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But there's like, I can see that there are people out there who are willing to like pound the pavement for a progressive mayor and like, you know, call people and vote and everything. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We just got to stick together. We got to like amp each other up, keep going. And God, I hope we get through it.
I think it has been like the first like glimmers of hopes that I've had in a very long time this past week, which then makes me feel scared because I'm like,
when's the next shoe dropping? Yeah.
I mean, the shoes do be dropping.
Right.
Like we're in like a freaking DSW turned upside down out here right now. But like,
that's such a great way to describe it. Yeah. Also, you said the thing about you always answer, like, when people ask how you are.
Yeah,
I do the
yeah.
same. I can't,
Oh,
I can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'll be like,
yeah.
oh man,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Like,
sleep last
not
night, had
even
5 nightmares, and they're like,
yeah.
girl, I'm just trying to sell you
Yeah.
chapstick.
I
Like,
know, I know. Yeah, I think it's an autistic thing where it's like you just kind of, like, I don't know, small
mhm.
talk eludes me still.
uh,
So,
yeah,
but,
that's fair.
but here we
But that's
are.
good because brunch is where
The truth comes out.
bonds are forged and,
Yes. Yeah.
you have
It
5 mimosas and you're just saying whatever.
yeah, yeah. It's just it really is the beginning and end, like it's
hmm
yeah, it is the moment.
Yeah. Moving on to something that maybe will be a little less traumatizing to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah, for sure, for
Do
sure.
you have any exciting news and or updates that you would like to share? Like you would like when you're catching up with a friend and you're like, what is
Um
exciting?
I do have something very exciting that I wanted to share, or I want to share. I cannot right now at this point in
So
time.
fair.
It could be 6 months to a year before I'm actually able
Mm.
to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I did. I did have something exciting happen book wise. So that's been nice. And then as far as like what I can't really share that either.
The joys of publishing.
I know, I know. I will say, so the one book that I'm working on right now um, has been one that I've been like afraid. I've been really wanting to write it for a long time. And then I got really like stage fright about wanting to
Mm.
write it. And then I was like, okay, well, that deadline's approaching, so like let's give it a try. And it's pouring out of me, and it's a very sad book. So thus far, so it's like a rom sad. Um,
I'm here for it.
yeah, like, oh, this is baby's got a tonal shift going on right now. But I am at least glad to be getting words on the page, so that's some good
hmm
news.
That is
That's
good.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And you recently, in the past 2 months, had a cover reveal for your
Yes.
upcoming book, which I, for one, am so eagerly anticipating.
Yes, I that one has been like also a weird one for me because like that book, I'm generally a decently fast writer,
hmm
and usually like a story comes to me. I don't go through like a huge overhauls of like plot and stuff during the writing process, and this book, it's called You Won't Forget Me. It has gone through like 4 or 5 like complete rewrites, and I've been
Oh
working
my
on it for like 4 years or something like that.
God. hmm
And so yeah, the fact that it's like kind of done and coming out, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure that this should actually be happening. Like I maybe that one just like was never meant to be. So I like again I'm like, oh okay, so I'm just gonna focus on this other thing that I'm writing. But I do love the
hmm
cover. So for
The
what
cover
it's
is so
worth,
beautiful.
and that's all that matters. And people don't even have to read it. They can just buy it for the cover because Jennifer Prince can do no wrong. The inside, like, not my business
hmm
anymore. Not theirs either, like, again. But
Yeah.
it is a book where I would get a trophy copy because it's so pretty. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a gorgeous cover. When I first saw it, I was like, what? First of all, Sapphic, and they're getting revenge
Mhm.
on someone. That's like my book that I'm writing. Secondly, Jennifer Prince cover.
Yeah.
I was like, is this just like, should I just like
I
stop
know.
and let this book exist instead? It's so
No,
beautiful.
no. I I'm just yeah, Jennifer Prince is a
hmm
brilliant artist, and so I'm so excited, and she
hmm
always does like the best covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I am gonna scream it from the rooftops like she ate with this cover, so
She did. She
she
sure
really,
did.
really did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool during the process too. We were trying to figure out what to do for it, and then I was like, oh, what if we had it look like a tour poster for a because it revolves around this
Mm-hmm.
band. And so then I was like sending all of my favorite tour posters, and it was like Stevie Nicks ones, and then
Mm-hmm.
Fleetwood Mac, and like all of these different ones. And I just feel like she just nailed it, and yeah, I'm very, very happy about it.
Yeah, it does definitely have that like vibe of like someone's a rocker somewhere.
Yes, yeah. They're all in a band, and it's like very emo and angsty and and just ridiculous.
Perfect. Our next part of the appetizers is my favorite part.
Okay.
Listeners who are friends with me should know what's coming because I am a little bit obsessed with icebreaker questions. Like, it's a problem. I used to be a manager at my job, and I'd just, like, end the shift and make everyone gather around and be like, so what's your favorite concert you've ever been to? And they were like...
Do you like to ask them, or do you like to answer them?
Okay, I prefer to ask them.
Yeah.
I will answer them if I'm forced to. I just think
there's a big difference.
I think they're great, like, conversation starters, and I try to come up with good ones that aren't, like, you know, give me a fun fact. I try to be a lot more specific. For instance, can you share one of the first books that hooked you heart and soul and got you interested in storytelling? And it doesn't have to be, like, your first memory of reading, because I, for one, cannot remember the first book that I read. But, like, do you remember a story where you're like, yes?
Oh, man, so many. Junie B. Jones, like, that whole series was very influential, like, to me as a kid. Twilight hooked me hard and fast, and there was, like, no going back. And then, I would have to say, like, as far as romance goes, I have, like, my kind of holy trinity of ones that, like, I think were very pivotal in, like, finding me at the right moment, and, like, just because I had always been a fan of romance, but then I was like, oh, no, I am living, breathing for the romance genre. And it was Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas, Sweet Filthy Boy by Christina Lauren, and The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. So, like, those three just really... I don't know, rearrange my brain chemistry at a certain point in time and were a really big deal to me. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that, the, like, romance novelist origin story, because I've been reading my whole life, but I wasn't into romance, and then one day I woke up and I got an arc of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I was like,
oh my god, yeah.
And then I started reading Sarah McLean, and I was like,
yeah.
Okay. And now here we are.
And mine was like, I had such a bizarre, like, pipeline, too, because I was super into... I read, like, the Philippa Gregory historical fiction, like, Tudor novels way too young. Like, I went through a very severe Anne Boleyn phase where, like, just lived and breathed her. And it was, I don't know, like, can a phase even be, is it a phase or is it just, like, a core foundational component? Because it was, like, a decade's worth obsession. But, I was like, oh my god, I love the romance aspect of it. And then I, you know, like, oh, bummer, everybody's, like, beheaded and King Henry has, like, leg fester wound or whatever. Like, that's a shame. And then I made my way to, like, Outlander, which, you know, obviously was, like, loading up a little bit more on, like, the romance element of it. And then I found historical romance, and it was, like, nothing would ever be the same after that.
Whole new world.
I'm like, oh my god, nobody has a festering leg wound and, like, smells like dirty milk, like, all the time. Like, you know,
oh,
like,
god.
Yeah.
Nightmares.
It was game changing. It was important.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I read Philippa Gregory. I grew up very conservative, so I accidentally read a sexy excerpt of one of her books, and it was, like, traumatizing. I was like, oh my god, they're naked. Yeah. And then I grew out of that. And I read Outlander, and I realized today, I was thinking about it, I was like, I think Outlander is the first time I read a book where that was, like, where I was like, oh, this is, like, sexy. Like,
yeah, yes! What? Oh my god, Outlander was, like, my, like, gateway to like, the, you know, like, because I mean, I guess it is a romance at, like, the foundation of it and stuff like that, but there's a heck of a lot other stuff going on.
It's so,
like,
sprawling.
It's so sprawling, but it is such a shepherd into, like, you know, tried and true romance novels, too. That's so funny. I love it.
That's wild. Do you watch a lot of like fiction TV shows?
I try to. I try to. I try to watch
Perfect.
as much TV as possible, to be honest with you. No, my TV watching's gone down, but yeah, I'm a big fan of fictional TV shows.
Okay. So if you had to enter the world of a fictional
Okay.
TV show that you have watched in the past year or so,
Mm.
what show and how are you like fucking shit up for them?
What?
How are
How
you
I what?
disrupting it?
Oh! I thought I thought you told me to shut the fuck up with it.
Oh
And I
my
was
God.
like, oh yeah. No, that makes sense.
Imagine I invite you onto a podcast just to be like, you're talking too much.
I kind of wish people would. I think that would make everything a lot better for any podcast interview. But oh man, I've watched like not super uplifting TV a lot of the time. I fuck, that's so hard. Because all of it's pretty dark. Okay, this is not a recent watch, but Peaky Blinders is like such a good show. And I also am like a firm believer in the idea of be no man's peace. And so I do think that if I were to enter into that world, I would be a love interest and almost like panic or panic panic, yeah, I would panic for sure. A manic pixie dream girl my way into like disrupting the entire Shelby family.
Yes.
I think that would be how I would go about it.
That's perfect. That's 10 out of 10 answer. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we finished our appetizers.
Delicious.
Next is the entree. This is a very big brunch. There's so many courses.
I love it. Yeah, that's my favorite way to eat.
Truly. And we're just like gossiping a bit.
Yes.
So what is a great story that you've heard recently? Now, it could be a fictional story you watched on TV, read in a book, something you experienced yourself, or it could be like you were at the coffee shop and you saw a terrible first date. Like that kind of story. Like what is something, yeah.
Oh my God, this is a tough question. Okay. I think, to me, this is probably, I'm like thinking of all of the bad ways that this could be taken out of context.
No.
And so I am just orating a story that has been told to me. It has come to my attention. I live in Western North Carolina. There is black bear hunting in this area, which in and of itself is like a very wild concept to me. But then I found out that there's like essentially these bear hunting like coalitions that essentially have like these turf wars going on between them, and like you cannot like go and hunt bear with like the other group of bear hunters, because like then your group will be like pissed off, or you can't like go into that area where they live primarily, because then they'll also be pissed off, and then essentially there's these two people that are in different bear hunting cohorts that are in love, and they're together, and I'm just I know I'm very deeply invested in all of this. Like there's so many elements to it that 'cause, like, how are they gonna make it work, you know?
Yeah, as you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, it's just like West Side Story, and then it really was.
It really kind of is in a way,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh man, and I went with West Side Story as opposed to Romeo and Juliet because I was like, I don't know. It's just what I thought of.
No,
I just feel like I need to say that, or people listening will be like, does she not know about Shakespeare?
I know. Listen.
I know about Shakespeare.
We know about Shakespeare. We're gays. We know about Shakespeare. We're gays at like brunch. Like, be so for real right now.
Obviously, we're going to talk about Shakespeare. But actually, what are some of your favorite I think the word I used in the question was like obsessions, but like what are some of your favorite things? Books, movies, items, like products,
Oh,
things that you've been into lately?
oh my God. Okay. I am so into taper candles. Um,
Oh,
and this is like a special interest that has lasted me a year. So like I
nice.
think again, I think it's now become like a foundational element. So
Yeah.
super, super into that. Um, I am also big into diet tonic water, and that's another like I just love me a crisp drink, like, and so deeply just constantly need to quench my thirst with like the crispest drink. um Drank through a straw as well, like when
Ah.
we were hit by Helene a year ago,
Mhm.
and at my like we went without water, like potable water, for about 60 days. But
Oh my
during
God.
those first like 4 or 5 days, we had very limited water and then no crisp drinks, and that was like my breaking point did come. I don't remember which day it was, but I was like laying on the
Mhm.
floor like toddler level tantrum because I was like, I just want a diet tonic water so bad. So I think that there was like other stuff that was actually going on in my psyche, but like the diet tonic water was like the big hit.
It was the straw that
Yeah,
broke
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, and so part of my crisp drink obsession is also like a Diet Coke in the can,
Mm,
but drank through a straw, like ice
okay.
cold. Yeah, and then I think that that's like the main stuff. I'm also just like really into baths lately.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like in my
yeah.
bath girl era. I'm taking to the waters, the sea air, um,
As one does.
as one does.
It's great for like bookish things. I see a lot of booktubers will be like, and now I'm gonna have a bath and like read my
Yeah,
books. And I'm like,
yeah.
that's so brave.
Oh, I know. I want so badly. Have you seen the free rights?
Oh my
Um,
God, yeah.
yeah. So I don't have one. I want one. I cannot
Oh my
justify
God.
the cost of it. So free right, if you want to sponsor me, hit me up. I did
I'll
send an
email them.
email once. I sent an email once, and I was like, I pretended to be my own fake assistant, and I was like, Maisie would love to
Uh,
like be an investor for the product, and they're like, yeah, she could buy one. Here's the website. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway,
no.
but I do want like a version of a free write that I can write in
Hmm.
the bathtub, because I do think I
Hmm.
have some really good ideas during
Yeah.
my baths. Um,
Yeah.
but they don't make like waterproof keyboards, believe it or not. So I don't know.
So wild.
Yeah,
I don't, that's,
so wild.
they're really missing out on like a
Yeah,
core.
a core. Yeah,
I
very
mean, every writer has had like a shower
for
epiphany where they're like,
sure.
I don't have anything to write down because
For
I'm literally in
sure.
the water."
Yeah, and I can't be that hard. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll get into like engineering next and make what.
Okay, so it was dentistry and writing,
Yeah,
engineering. Just have all the
yeah.
jobs.
All the jobs, and I'll like tinker my way to making it with all my tapered candles.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
If you now we're gonna have a heart to heart
Yeah,
like
I'm
we've
ready.
been doing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
we're
ready.
just
I'm ready.
continuing.
Yeah.
What is your most earnest or sincere romance or romance novel opinion?
Hmm. See, that's an interesting one too, because like I'm a big fan of earnestness, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that we as a society like don't indulge in earnestness enough, which I don't
Mm-hmm.
fully understand. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what's yours? Like, do you have an example of what yours is? Because I'm trying to think
Um,
what mine.
when it comes to romance, I don't know that this is like earnest per se.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'm following my own
Mm-hmm.
guardrails, but I do think like one, everyone deserves a happily ever after, and it doesn't have to look the way at least I was raised to believe that it would look,
Mm-hmm.
aka find a man, marry him, have babies,
Mm-hmm.
be a housewife, which is,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that if that is someone's happily ever after, that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. But for me, I'm like, well, I would rather not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to look different for me because I'd be like, I would want to like have a wife myself,
Mm-hmm.
not just be a
Mm-hmm.
wife. And I want to like write my books and do my podcasts and this stuff. So like, and then there, for some people, it's like happily ever after is like I have multiple partners, and for some people,
Mm-hmm.
it's I have no partners, which that wouldn't go well in a romance novel. But
Unless it's a yes. Well, I think yeah, and I think the other thing, and again, I don't know if this is earnest necessarily, but I think okay, I actually have two opinions and or yeah, two thoughts here, and I think one of them is probably not going to go over well, but like the the first one, both of them probably won't go over well, but the first one is everybody hates like miscommunication. Um, and or especially in the realm of like a third act breakup and all of that stuff, and I think that that's so I think that that like dislike for it, I mean, I don't like it, I don't like when people miscommunicate, and it's so frustrating, but that is like I feel like that's like the most ultimate mirror to real life, and like what gets in the way of us actually finding happily ever
yeah.
afters, because all we do is miscommunicate. I mean, you can say that I like pancakes on Threads, and then somebody's
Yes.
like, okay, so you condemn Waffle House
Damn.
employees. You condemn Waffle House
Oh
employees,
my
and you think
god.
that's cool. And it's like, and well, no, like
Right.
I love Waffle House. Like it's leaps and bounds of like we're just not made like with how much information we pass back and forth. And so
Fair.
I think that we like shy away, or like will seek out books that don't have miscommunication, or like ding books that do have it, because it forces us to look at all the times that we've misinterpreted or taken in bad faith, or just not told
Ooh.
our own truth in
Yeah.
situations. So that's kind
It's
of
like
where I go ahead.
it frustrates us because we see ourselves in it, and
Yeah,
it's an
yeah,
uncomfortable kind of like perception, like self
yeah,
perception almost.
100%. Like it really is. It's that old adage that like the thing that you dislike most in somebody else is what you
Yeah.
dislike most in yourself. Sorry, my cat's totally in the way here. And then my other one was I think I think romance. I see this the most with romance, and it worries me that we are distilling romance in the way that romance novels in the way that we talk about it, um, to tropes. And I love tropes, and I love that they're markers and signals for what we're kind of looking for, and they're so invaluable for the genre, and all genre fiction relies on tropes, and so they're not something that's new, they're not something that's bad. I mean, they're super super important, but I do think that and I think that it was like a catchy marketing tactic to do like the trope graphic for a while there, but now I think we've gotten to the point where we are so quick to make something grabby or interesting in a graphic, or in how we talk about it or pitch it in like a reel or something like that, and it's hard to capture the whole essence of it too. And so that, yeah, I think I don't want us to ever um distill to the point that we're not acknowledging like just how much depth romance novels have, and how much nuance and specialness there is, because the tropes are great and they scratch that itch when you're seeking one out
Yep.
specifically, but if that's the only lens that we're talking about them through, we lose some of the layers to them.
And I think if that's the only thing we talk about, readers lose the ability, maybe not the ability, but lose the appreciation for the non-tropey elements of the
Mm-hmm.
books. And
Mm-hmm.
writers lose the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the impetus to write books that
Mm-hmm.
go beyond the surface.
Yep. Yeah, because
Because,
and it's part of a publishing issue too, where it's like, well, what are the tropes? How are we marketing this?
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we can market it beyond just these
Right.
tropes, because that's great for listicles and things. And again, they serve their purpose. I'm not anti-trope at all, but it's just it kind of creates this vicious cycle where it's like, then there is this pressure to write to tropes only discuss your
Only
work
market to tropes, and then people are disappointed because it's not just light and fluffy. There's
yeah.
discussions and like sorrow too.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I started querying in 2014, so I've been like online in the writing world for so long, and I've noticed, like, when I first was querying and wanting to become published, there was a lot of, like, a marketing thing was you would write essays about, like, personal essays for Writer's Digest or LitHub or wherever about, like, deep themes in your book. And I still see that sometimes, but I also see a lot, like you were saying, like, a lot of marketing is a lot more trope-based or, like, almost like it's the sprinkles, like, the exciting factors. And to me, I'm like, well, I always want to talk about, like, why I decided to include this theme because it really matters to me, and I think that I am one of those people. I know some people are like, I don't care about authors, I just want to read the book and never see the author, and I'm like, no, tell me everything. I want to know why you wrote the book, how you wrote the book, like what inspired it. And that's also why, not to have a hot take on the first episode, but that's why I'm like, I don't separate the art from the artist. Like, I don't.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I'm always really amazed listening to Casey McQuiston talk about their work and like their process, and even in their posts and stuff like that. It's just the level of intensity and intentionality is so interesting, and it does, it does create something that feels so full, and like for looking at it from like a marketing tactic too, if we're talking about it in this lens where it's like, I don't know, those are books that just come to mind where it's like not necessarily, again, distilled into tropes where it's like discussed. I don't know, it's all very interesting, and I think a lot of it has to do with our brains and our attention is just like under constant attack, and it's what's going to be. We're constantly battling with short form content, and so it's like, what is going to grab attention when you're doing short form content? And so it's like a graphic that lists tropes, and so I don't know, it's just I don't know, it's a lot.
It's a hard thing to come to terms with, and it's a problem that like doesn't have easy solutions, I think. But I think it's valid. It's valuable to talk about it.
And I think it's just a snapshot of where we're at in the moment. I think everything shifts, like, and I don't think it's going to be that way forever. Like I was at a bubble tea place working yesterday, and I saw these. They look very young. I'm thinking teenagers, but they had a digital camera, and they were like taking pictures on their digital camera, and I was just I was so enamored by that, and I was like, and I love that, and I hope that there is this, pendulum swing back towards more, not that a digital camera is analog, but towards more analog thing, where it's like, it isn't that, or like the resurgence of film cameras and stuff, and I love that idea. Everything's cyclical, nothing's permanent, and especially when it comes to marketing or, conversations and stuff like that. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how all of that shifts as well over time.
That is so true. Yeah. I think about that a lot, just how much like things have changed since I was in the early aughts in like whatever schooling it was, and now, and how things are like shifting back. Like people crave like a slower pace of life almost, and I'm like, because we're all speeding along at like 90 miles an hour all the time.
All the time. It's, and I think that's where like my existential angst is coming in too, where I'm like, oh no, like this is like, not to get like outrageously deep here, but like I've never been like afraid of dying. But I have recently started thinking about the fact that like, oh, like this is like my life. Like, you know, and I'm so stressed and I'm so busy all the time, and like that's you know, like that's where that angst is coming in, like what am I doing here?
Right, like how do I make the most of it, because this is my one shot. I think about death every day. So I'm like every day I'm like, okay, let's go, it's one day closer. Very dark. Okay.
And it is very interesting too, where it's like I'm with you. 100%.
So what is, I will give you, you can talk about a good or a hard moment in publishing that you feel like sharing. And I give both options because like not everyone wants to be like, this is a hard thing that happened. But so if there's anything good that stands out, or if there was a moment where you were like, no, this sucked and people need to know.
You know, I think it's nothing but roller coasters. You know, ups and downs, and the ups feel so high and the downs feel so low. And lately I've also been noticing like this tendency for us as authors and publishing, where, you know, it isn't a meritocracy. We constantly move the goalposts for ourselves too, where it's like I remember just like sitting on my apartment floor in Philly, like I had sent out like what felt like my 1,000th query letter, and I was just like, it felt like my bones would break with how badly I just wanted an agent. Like I didn't even, you know, that was all I wanted. And like now I think about it too, and it's like, I don't know, there's this weird wedge that you place between yourself and like this creative endeavor when it becomes commodified. But you know, so all that to say, I would say like one of the best things in publishing is I've met my very best friends through it. One of them was actually more through being part of the book community, my best friend Megan, and then another one was my best friend Serena, who's a YA, Serena Kaler, she's a YA author, absolutely brilliant. But like these two are, I don't really remember myself without them in my life, and it's funny to think that like it was because of this journey that like they are in my life. And so that's just such a huge high for me that I turn back to all the time, where it's like you know, good, bad, or ugly, like I met these people that are so just like fundamental to me, and so that's a huge high. And then one low that's been really weird is so this is like a very long convoluted thing, but like I finally figured out what medications work for me for my ADHD.
Oh yeah.
And so I take Adderall, and I'm also very, very stressed. And so since I've been like, you know, found Adderall works for me within the past probably 2 or 3 years, I have lost some weight. And again, a lot of that stress too. It wasn't like this intentional thing or anything like that. And my size and my weight is something that I try not to think about very much because it doesn't matter. But what was weird is within the publishing, and this isn't a publishing thing, it's more of a reader thing. I've had a lot of people message me on social media about my weight and what I did to lose weight, and like all of these things that and in that sense, and those are the moments where I'm like, maybe we should separate the art from the artist. Like there shouldn't be like a conversation about like what, you know, so that was a weird thing to me too, which again, I don't know that I'm answering the question very well on like, because it's not necessarily a publishing
It's
fault,
a hard part of being a public person is that people think that they can then talk to you about your weight, which is like, I don't want to like it if my mother did that to me, like not a stranger.
And so you know, it's just, and I think it was like this strange feeling of being very perceived, where I'm like, I never thought that somebody would like think deeply enough to like remember what I looked like 5 years ago versus now. And so, but because my hope is more so that it's like about the books that I'm writing or, the themes that I'm working on. And so that was just a weird thing. And so both of those are kind of interpersonal highs and lows. But yeah, I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind.
I mean, it makes sense because publishing is like, it's so people driven. It's such a, like, you wouldn't necessarily think it if you didn't know anything about writing books or publishing, but it's so like the people you interact with and work with and are friends with can make or break the whole thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking today about the, like, I have a friend that I met literally, like, not even 4 years ago. We met in grad school. And I'm like, I think back on the 2 months before then, and I'm like, wait, I didn't know Christine?
Yeah.
Like, no,
yeah.
that's,
yeah.
I don't like it.
And it's so, I mean, that's the thing that's so amazing about best friends, too, is, like, just how, I don't know, they're just, like, these people that you choose over and over again to just, like, I don't know, share your life with. It's amazing.
It's really special.
It is. Like, it is really special. And I think finding that, and I think on the, almost as like a cautionary tale maybe, but I think that when you're entering the writing world and publishing, especially during your debut year, when you're about to publish your first book, there's a lot of almost like panic to find your people. And there will always be people that kind of portray themselves as like, if you're not with me, you're falling behind, sort of thing. And I think that there are just some natural cliques that can form, in any work environment and stuff like that. And so I think, just like with anything, it's important not to put pressure on something. Like, you're not failing if you haven't found it within a week, a month, or even that year. Like, it will all settle, but there's not anybody that like you have to, I don't know, like hurt yourself to get the approval of.
And it's never too late to find a new best friend. Like, my hope is that I'll be at the end of my life still finding new people that I'm like, you make every day better,
right? There's no reason, you don't have to have X amount of friends by the time you're Y age. Like, it's
by the time you're 30 you should have this many friends, this many cars, or whatever.
Exactly. There's no like natural milestone that we need to hit.
And some people, like my therapist likes to talk about not cosms, but like systems, like your like most intimate circle, and like macro systems. And she was like, some people need a really small macro system, and then she's like, you need a lot of people. And I was like, thank you. You see me.
You get
it. But some people need like one best friend, and they're good. And some people want 17 like close friends that they tell everything to. And by some people I mean me, because every time I have a piece of news I'm like, all right, let me text my 10 people all at once.
And I think and the other thing too is that can change throughout your life. Like what you needed friendship wise at 15 is different than what you need at 25, at 30,
That's so real.
Your needs change too. And I think it's okay to like mourn and grieve any relationship, but especially friendships that don't last forever, but like served their time and their purpose when they were. And so it's like, and you can't, it doesn't work if you force it with a lot of stuff.
I think so much of like what I'm getting out of this conversation and some of the things we've touched on is like, we just like need more grace for ourselves and for others. It's like, like, be nicer to yourself if you have a friendship breakup. Be nicer to that person who said they like pancakes. They probably don't mean that Waffle House sucks.
Condemning Waffle House. Yeah, we do. We need so much more grace, and we also need to like show up for each other. If we want community, we have to show up as a community member. And like, it won't always feel comfortable. It won't always be convenient. But like, if we want to feel like we're part of something, we have to be part of it. Yeah.
And it can be hard, but I just think like, I mean, I am like an unfortunately very, very big fangirl. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, am I
Mm-hmm.
being too much of a fangirl? And then I'm like, you know what? If there were someone who, like, read my book and was like, oh, I love it, and, like, commented on all my posts, I wouldn't be like, ugh, it's
Oh
Karis again. I'd be
yeah.
like, oh, she
Yeah,
likes my
like
stuff.
this person cares enough to like
Yeah.
in a very busy world take a moment
Take the
to
time,
like
yeah.
share that love or appreciation for something you create. Like that's so
Yeah.
awesome. And that's earnest too. Like to be earnest
Yeah.
and excited about something. Like hell yeah, I love that.
I love the introduction of cringe to, like, society.
Oh,
Bad times.
bad time.
Everything is
Yeah.
cringe, which means nothing is cringe. Be earnest, be a nerd, like, do whatever.
Yeah.
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 Don't do bad things to people, but, like, otherwise, just be happy.
Yeah. Otherwise, just mind your own business and like, ask yourself, what does the soft animal of your body want in that moment? And then
Yes.
enjoy it. And you don't have to share everything either. Like things are
Yeah.
cringe when we leave them open for like public consumption and then care what the public thinks about it. It's like, no, just do what you like
Yeah. Yeah.
as long as it's safe.
I love that. Next course is dessert,
Yum.
which is I was like, what would be fun questions? So
Yeah.
let me know if these aren't fun questions.
I'm sure they
for
are.
dessert.
I'm having the most fun.
But what is a bookish or research, like, rabbit hole that you've gone down lately? Just like something like kind of similar to the obsessions question, but more like in terms of like learning, like.
Oh my God. I have a couple, like actively this week where I'm like, oh, I might have to quit my day job. Like I'm like so deep in the hole, but, and part of this will probably, is a bit spoilery for what I'm working on, but, I have gone down this rabbit hole, of witchcraft, and, Celtic mythology, and folklore, and
Yes.
yeah, and symbolism, and the intersection of those two things. I am just like very deep in it. I I also went down a very deep rabbit hole of all of the different of OCD subtypes, and yeah, and so
Been there.
yeah, I was like, it was what I thought was research for a character, and I don't know at this point, but I was like, wait a second, is the
There's so
shoe
many.
fitting? Is the shoe fitting right now? I'm like, oh no. But I read that, I'll find a link and send it to you as well. But I read this awesome Substack post about making research a hobby. And I loved it because it was just like, it was all about how you kind of retrain your perspective on it, where you're like out of the, I have to do this for school, and it's like, it's a chore sort of thing, and do it like, where it's just like the weird, nonsensical, like kind of freaky thing that you're into, and then treating it like a love language. Like, the author was talking about how if you like physical touch, like, really like indulge in the feel of like a page in your hand, or like the scribble of your pen as you're taking notes, or if, it's like words of affirmation. It's like, how can I find something to share with somebody else? And I loved that. And I was like, yes, we need more like curiosity, just for the pleasure of like learning it. And so, yeah, those have been some of my deeper research rabbit holes.
I adore the research as a hobby, like making it just like, I sometimes freak myself out because I'm like, I've had one special interest my whole life, and that was writing books. Like, that's it.
I love it.
And I'm like, I don't have any party tricks. Like, I don't have cool fact. People are like, what could you write a PowerPoint, like do a PowerPoint presentation on? And I'm like, I don't know, books, publishing, like that's it.
That's it.
But so I love the idea of like practicing learning, and like almost like the Wikipedia wormhole thing, where it's like start on one page and just like hit and like discover something new, and then you'll have a new thing to talk about.
Yeah, and or if you're like me, you don't remember a single fact that you've I don't
Yeah,
know, when somebody asks you a fun fact, that's why I had so much fear with your icebreaker question. I know that I know a very mind-blowing fact about mangoes, and I cannot think about it right now. Like, I don't remember what it was. And I still don't. I've been thinking about it this entire hour. I'm like, I gotta remember, just in case
it's gonna come up. Like, I'm gonna be like, so tell me about mangoes.
I need to have this fact ready, and I don't. Even when I learned the fact too, I was like, I was like, girl, you're going to store this one, and you're going to be able to whip it out and impress people. And I have not been able to. So anyway, yeah.
The only things I've ever successfully memorized are Chuck Norris jokes, and I can whip out 2 to 3 of them.
At the drop of a hat.
Okay. At the drop of a hat. And I do.
And you say you only have one special interest. Like,
well, that's true. Yeah, Chuck Norris is a special interest.
Yeah, like, let's be so for real.
Yeah. Did you know? Now I have to give one.
Okay, I'm ready.
That Chuck Norris has been to Mars.
No, yeah.
That's why there's no sign of life there.
Oh, I love it. That's good. That's really good. That's cute.
Yeah. I remember, one time in middle school, I was, looking up jokes online, and I found blonde jokes, and I found Chuck Norris jokes, and I memorized them, and I was like, great, I'm 10, this is gonna make me so popular.
You're like, not to brag, but I'm about to be the most popular kid in school.
Let's go. It's shockingly...
It worked.
Yeah. And here we are. What about, romance novels that you've adored or loved recently, or that have just, the ones that you read and you were like, this is, my favorite dessert, or my favorite, snack, if you're more of a savory person. The books that are just, delicious.
Talia Hibbert is my, break glass in case of emergency author, where every time I read one of her books, it sits with me for so long that I almost feel like I have to space them out, because I have this urge to consume them, but I have this very, very keen awareness that every time I'm starting one, it's the first time I'll ever be able to read it for the first time. Yeah, or the only time I'll be able to read it for the first time. And so all of hers are the Brown Sister trilogy is that for me. I know it just absolutely banana pants good. And I've been struggling a little bit with reading romance right now because we are in the darkest of times. Yeah, and so I've been trying to think what else. I've just been doing some rereads of those.
Are there other genres that have been working for you?
Yeah, I've been really into horror lately, actually. So Hungerstone was really incredible. My Darling Dreadful Thing, I think it's what it's called. That was really, really good. This isn't horror necessarily, more thriller, but I just finished The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and that one was so good. The audiobook was incredible, and I can't stop thinking about that one. It's very on the brain. Yeah, those have been. Oh my God! Wait, this one. Greta and Valden. Have you read that?
But I've seen it.
Around. No, okay. That book, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and classify it as a romance. It's not a romance, but it's a romance, and it is I had to pull over because I did the audiobook. I had to pull over. I was laughing so hard listening to it. It was so funny. So deeply earnest and unhinged, and I really, really enjoyed the audiobook too on that one.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's another one where I can't stop thinking about it either. That might be one of my favorite books of the year.
Nice.
Yeah, so definitely recommend that one. It truly is one of the gayest books I've ever read too. Just on every front, I'm just I love it. I love everything.
Actually, that just jumped it up to the top of the list. It's gay and it made you laugh out loud so hard you had to stop driving. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. It's so good. Yeah.
Okay. That's incredible. We're nearing the end of brunch, and so we're gonna do a toast.
Okay.
And the toast question, I'm so proud of it. I hope you like it.
I'm so
My toast
excited.
question is, what is one soapbox that you would like to get on for like a minute or a minute and a half? Just like it's giving. Do you ever listen to Las Culturistas?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay. It's like my version of the I don't think so, honey, but like
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
you know, yeah.
Oh my God, okay. Oh God, there's so many. Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity to actually do what needs to be done. So I've been very public in my campaign for Jonathan Bailey to be Sexiest Man Alive. I've shared this story many a times. I will share it many a more. I first saw his butt July 2013. It was around 3 a.m. I was having insomnia. I was also very like deep into my Doctor Who fandom era, and so I was like, David Tennant, obviously gonna watch. Watching that, lo and behold, Jonathan Bailey pops up, and I think he hooks up with one of the characters, and he's like so young and precious, and his name's Ollie, and he's a reporter in Broadchurch, and yeah, they hook up, and then I think he makes like some dirty joke about anal, and then you see his butt, and like it just game changing, like very cellular level, like deeply changed me and my trajectory of life, and so I've been a huge fan of his work ever since, and I just. Finding out that he was named the sexiest man alive was a really important moment for me personally, because again, I have campaigned very, very hard for it. I've been there, like my friend made a cross stitch for me about like my love of his butt for 12 years. Like it's not, I'm not just like no tea, no shade. I'm not just like a Bridgerton being, like I was there during bubblegum. Like I was there during the company. Like I have been there. And so I think it was a really big day for me, but I think what was difficult was almost this sense of like, I think it's like, I hadn't been consulted about like the reveal. And then I also think that I do imagine that there's probably people out there that think they're more excited about it than me, and they're not. It's just like, and it bothers me that they have such a wrong opinion, because it's just not true. And and they think that, like they've supported him, and like they haven't, like not like I have. And I just think that I needed to get it off my chest that like, I should have been consulted about the reveal, no matter how happy I am. And like, I think that it probably is the feeling too of like when your kids go off to college, right? Like you've taken them to that level, and like it's almost the end of this era, right? Where it's like, I can rest. I can finally rest, because it's like the goal has been met. It's time for me to rest. I've done the work. I've put in the effort, the labor. But it's also just like this identity crisis too, where it's like, where do I go from here? And
your empty nest syndrome for Jonathan Bailey as the sexiest man alive.
Yeah, and possessive, and getting like a little bit like Harlequin, alpha hole, romance hero within me, like.
No, I relate to that. Not for Jonathan Bailey, I have not been. I was one of the Bridgerton converts.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we're here now.
We're here now.
On the train.
You're on the train. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
You. And I do think you are the most excited.
Yes.
And you should have been consulted. So
yeah.
You're correct.
I know. Like I know. I know.
Don't worry.
I know I'm correct. I think I just like, I'm already preparing where it's like, again, one day I will meet somebody out in the real world that thinks they think that they were there, when it was like, no, I saw the spark of life, it was me.
I feel that way about certain book series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Which ones?
I'm like, so I read one this year, and it was indie published. It's a trilogy of dark paranormal romanticises called the Broken Bloodlines trilogy. Okay. And it was picked up by Entangled, so like it's being TradPub now, and I'm like, I stayed awake. I read the whole trilogy in 22 hours.
Yeah.
I did not move from my bed for 12 of those hours. Like, that's my books. Those are my books.
Those
you
are your
can't
books.
have
Like,
them.
yeah, those are your books. And
That's my family.
Yeah. And
those are my 4 vampire lovers.
And I'm very against gatekeeping, and I try not to do it, but I'm also like, if I don't gatekeep a little bit, something very dark within me is going to like surface, and then I won't be a good Samaritan, you know? Like, it's like I either need to gatekeep and like be an active member of society,
or it's just like the monster is unleashed and
the Kraken is freaking out. Yeah.
Incredible. That is our final question.
Cheers to you. I love that. That was great. I love that question. Yay.
If you could
such a I don't think so honey thing.
Yeah, okay, good. I was like, is this a good one? I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
If you could just share with people what you've got coming up, where they can find you on the internet, how to become a Mazey Eddings fan.
Buy my books, please. You don't even have to read them, like I said. What you do with them is your business, or request them from your library. No, I am probably most active on Instagram and Threads, and my handle's at Mazey Eddings. And then I got my bitch-ass little Substack where I... remember I have it once a quarter and like send something out.
I get those Substacks, and every time I get to the end and you have the horrifying, I'm like, oh, I forgot this was coming.
I know. It's always a jump scare, and like, talk about a research rabbit hole. I spend a really good chunk of time finding like the most heinous gift to put at the end. So yeah, that's where you can find me, or go to my website, www.mazeyeddings.com.
The www is important.
It is. You won't get there without it. And you know what? Just type that into your search bar. Like, I heard SEO is important. So, like, you know, let's do what needs to be done. And then, my next book comes out June 9th, 2026 for Pride Month. They moved it up for Pride Month. And it's called You Won't Forget Me. And it's essentially, like, I dedicated it to Stevie Nicks when she sings at... what's his nuts?
Lindsay?
What was it?
Is Lindsay?
Yeah,
God,
I was gonna say Buckingham. I was gonna say Leslie Knope, and I was like, well, that's obviously not it.
The crossover we did not expect.
Yeah. Oh my god, could you imagine? So yeah, it's Stevie Nicks and Leslie Knope fanfic. Should I rate that? Okay. You know, we're just gonna stop there before I plot out that entire book. But yeah, it's sapphic and angsty, and like, we have a little depressed girly rep in there. So you know, let's fucking go. Let's pop our SSRIs and let's go, girls.
But that's a perfect note to end on, so I will end the recording. All right, and that was my interview with Mazey Eddings. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm just here for like 12 seconds to close out the episode, to remind you to go ahead and check those links in the show notes and read up, educate, like, inform yourself on a bunch of things. I would like to remind you that you can pre-order Mazey's upcoming book, You Won't Forget Me. It comes out on June 9th, 2026. And finally, I would like to say, if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoy this podcast, please go ahead and follow us on Instagram at publishersbrunch_Karis. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a review, a rating, a comment, whatever you want to do, because again, I really want this podcast to do well and be seen by others, both for my sake and for that of my guests. So thank you so much for checking out this inaugural full episode of Publishers Brunch with Karis. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our next guest, and I hope you have a wonderful December.